Welcome back, everybody, to KFR News Radio or television station or whatever you want to believe yourself to be at this point. My name is Glenjamin Button, your host, and also your host here is Miguel Magusto.
Hello, Glenn. Jimin.
Hello, Miguel Magusto.
Button. How are you?
I'm alright. How are you, buddy?
It's not too bad. It's been a while since we've done one of these.
Since we've done it on camera as well.
It's been longer since we've done it on camera. It's been a while since we've done it.
Believe it or not, we're not in a car this time.
We're not in a car.
It's really freaky.
We're in this... I moved into a basement, more or less. It's nice, though.
I can vouch. It is a pretty nice basement.
I've created
An atmosphere.
a shrine. A shrine to movies down here in my home. Where I sleep on this couch, actually. Is that sad?
I mean, I would, to be honest with you. This pillow alone is the comfiest thing in the world. Next to Peanut.
I always feel like I work too hard and don't play enough.
Anyway, this is our reunion video / podcast. Anything you want to listen to this on. And we're back after so much time because either we've been putting it off or I've been moving back to Pennsylvania.
Or been sick.
Or have been sick the last 2 weeks. Literally, my throat was closed and I couldn't speak words. It was the worst feeling in the world.
Yeah. So we definitely don't have a movie to talk about this week because we've been on hiatus. We didn't know when we'd come back.
Mm-hmm.
So, what do you want to talk about?
Talk about life. How you doing, buddy?
Not too bad.
Well, we've got many things to talk about.
Yes, many of which are well past their prime as far as conversation topics, but
especially when we were going to do this a couple months ago.
Yeah,
but,
I know. I'm sure a few people still care about what we have to say, and this is kind of just an introductory, get our feet wet again. Not really.
I'm wearing socks. I don't really want that, but let's do it.
It's a figure of speech, so
let's jump into it.
So, as you know, I'm sure, a lot of the controversy around Hollywood and film in general in the past few months have been created by Martin Scorsese, stating that he doesn't consider film cinema. And that's a thing that he said.
Yeah, this is the quote from him.
I think a lot of people know my thoughts on the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I think my view of this will surprise some people, but I want to see what you think of that. So I feel like every time we've talked about it, I've talked about it, and then you've just been like, yeah.
Yeah, the quote that he said there that he botched a little bit, that he didn't think film was cinema. Marvel films.
Oh, did I say film was cinema? Marvel films were cinema.
That's my fault. Up like a steak.
That's my fault. I don't listen to myself when I speak.
So, yes, Scorsese has said that he doesn't believe that Marvel films are cinema.
And this created a lot of backlash because his most recent film...
Especially from Marvel fans. Obviously.
Especially from Marvel fans, actors in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, which, I don't get why they're getting involved with it. You're just kind of shooting yourself in the foot as far as...
Yeah.
I'm sure Martin Scorsese doesn't care about it, but a lot of the backlash was created because his most recent film, The Irishman, is a Netflix film, which, in my opinion, is very sad that we live in a society where Martin Scorsese can't get a wide release.
On one of his gangster movies.
On one of his gangster movies.
It doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make sense. We saw The Irishman. We have our thoughts about it. We can talk about that later. In theaters, yeah. We can talk about that later. But, yeah, so that's where a lot of the backlash came from, is that his most recent film
was barely even cinema. It was a streaming platform.
Which I have words about that later, but I want to kind of continue your thoughts.
So as far as the Marvel films aren't cinema belief there, a lot of people misconstrued that in a way. I didn't take it as a big deal because what he said was specifically, he said he doesn't believe that Marvel films are cinema. They are roller coasters, was pretty much the quote that I believe that he said.
Yeah,
Which,
more or less.
if we're being honest, he's not lying. And I'm a huge Marvel fan. Roller coasters, absolutely, is pretty much the word for it.
Yeah, who doesn't like roller coasters?
I believe that, personally, I believe that some of them can be cinema worthy. Not just roller coasters. I don't think it's really meant to be offensive. I don't think Martin Scorsese's out to like go for any necks in the Marvel world. I didn't take offense by it. A lot of people did. I think people made it a bigger deal than it actually needed to be.
Yeah.
A lot of people got triggered by it. Again, I was a huge Marvel fan. I didn't give a single crap about it. I was like, okay, moving on with my life now.
Yeah, a lot of people were bringing up the fact that, he said, the one thing I think he was wrong, and he insinuated, he didn't say it, but a lot of people took it the way he said, is that Marvel movies don't give off an emotional reaction, which is what he thinks cinema is.
Yeah.
I don't think he really meant that. I think he kind of just had poor choice of words. Mm-hmm. And like Chadwick Boseman came out and said that he's seen more emotional reaction to these Marvel movies than, other movies that he's made. Which is fair. It's a fair point.
It's fair. It's
to
true,
the point where it's...
to the huge fan bases.
Yeah, and to the point where their emotional reaction's annoying. Like, if you've seen any of the videos of Endgame reactions where the whole audience is screaming, I would have just shot myself in the fucking head that day. If that happened.
I can't be a part of what you said. I was pretty hyped from
that's fine. I get that.
As a fan, like, you had those moments where you're like, I'm shitting my pants right now. I'm not even wearing diapers. I'm cool with this.
Yeah, and
right
it's definitely, and it's not a thing. Like, I don't care that people were doing that, but if I were in that theater, I would have probably just walked out. Like, that's...
Well, and here's where I'm gonna pull some strings. Well, not pull any strings, but like probably hurt somebody's feelings. And like in today's like film, like cinema, like slash whatever you want to call it, Star Wars for me is getting up there too with not wanting to care. And that's controversial.
Yeah,
I'm getting my feet wet now with these wet socks.
Yeah. The thing about Star Wars, we'll get we'll get into that later, but
like there's plenty. What I meant to get out of that is I wasn't just coming at Star Wars.
Yeah.
I was trying to say that there's definitely other franchises out there that are pretty much with the same thing for what Scorsese feels about Marvel. I'm quoting.
And I think a lot of people just forget, like, it's his opinion.
Yeah,
who really cares?
It's just an opinion.
His opinion is not going to have Marvel movies stop being made.
Yeah.
The thing
in fact, they're not even close to stopping at this point.
Honestly, the fact with how much they're making, they're going to be their own downfall.
It's now more of a roller coaster than it was 6 months ago when he said that. Because their train that they're pulling on right now is going to be insane.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's I think what we're seeing, we've seen it for a few years now. The complete, I don't want to say lack of respect, but people no longer care about artistic films. Mm-hmm. And that's not saying that the MCU isn't art, but they're definitely like cookie cutter. Like, they're fun. Don't get me wrong. I enjoy watching Marvel movies. I don't love them, but I enjoy them.
Yeah.
They're cookie cutter, formulaic movies, and that's fine. The world needs that. Like, a lot of people go to see movies for escape, but there's a definite lack of respect for more artistic movies, and we're seeing it because, like, they're not being released. A24 is like the only studio that will release those kinds of movies anymore.
Yeah.
And which is why I personally love A24.
They're pretty much a powerhouse at this point.
But
kinds of movies.
We're in this weird point in the film society where people don't know how to market those films anymore, and I get it. Mm-hmm. They're hard to market. They've always been hard to market. But a plus side of that is Netflix, and Martin Scorsese took that to his advantage, where Netflix will release these things because it doesn't really cost them anything to have it on. I mean, it does, but it's not like you have to pay many theaters to show your movie, which then they end up making most of the money off of, but they do have to pay money for it, and to, like, ship it out and everything, and it's just... Yeah, it's just a weird time for movies at the moment.
You're not lying.
Yeah. Speaking of weird time for movies,
What about it?
I want to go back and to talk about Star Wars with The Mandalorian. We've been watching The Mandalorian.
TV
series.
Hitting the TV series top.
On Disney Plus,
Yeah.
which is a streaming service, which is how I kind of thought of it, Netflix, Disney Plus. I think it's ridiculous that they're all branching out, but I get it at the same time from a business standpoint. But then it's going to push people away to pirate more.
I was just saying, that's how you get pirating.
Yep.
And we all get scurvy again. This is
The
great.
Mandalorian. The Mandalorian has proven to me, which, I mean, I want to preface this by saying I like Star Wars. I really enjoy Star Wars. I grew up on Star Wars. And watching it without the filter of nostalgia, they're not that great. The movies aren't that great. They're fun, but they're not these mind-blowing things. I'm sure they were if you saw them in the 70s, but we don't have that luxury of it being the first special effects we see. Yeah. And I still stand by that 2001: A Space Odyssey had similar effects, but done better. And obviously not lasers and whatnot, but like spaceships flying around.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't even get to see Star Wars until I was in my teens, early teens, and I was a fan as soon as I got to seeing them, but I mean, I never jumped on the bandwagon that hard.
Yeah.
At least compared to a lot of people who defend the living hell out of it.
Mm-hmm.
When it's not.
Anyway, Star Wars.
When I personally don't believe it's as good as everyone hypes it up to be in the slightest.
Yeah.
But it is a huge, great universe that has the biggest amounts of potential, and you talk about cookie cutter, I believe that is one of the biggest cookie cutters, next to Marvel, obviously, franchises out there.
Yeah.
And it hurts, because it has so much potential.
It does. And Mandalorian has grazed that potential in some aspects, but then continues to fall back onto the cookie cutter-ness of it, and, you know...
Now, he's gotten to episode 4. I just watched episode 5 2 days ago. And I'm not going to spoil it for him in the slightest, but it's definitely... the first 2-3 episodes were very strong, and then now it's like kind of grazing back. It's like, hey...
Yeah, like episodes 1 through 3 were really enjoyable. I still didn't think they were as great as everyone else said they were, but then episode 4 just made it come to a screeching halt. Again, I don't want to get into too much, but it's just... I don't know why... And Mandalorian's not the only TV show to suffer from this, where they have these filler episodes where the only thing that pushes the story along is the last 5 minutes of it.
Yep.
But they create an entire episode of it. Like, I'd rather have less episodes and more tight of a story. Haunting of Hill House, which we talked about, is a great example of that. There's a lot of good stuff in Haunting of Hill House.
As soon as you said that title, my heart shrunk a little bit.
There's a lot of good things in Haunting of Hill House, but it does not enough to warrant a 10-hour series.
Yeah.
And I feel like Mandalorian's suffering from the same thing, where, you know, the first 3 episodes, a few things here or there I could cut out, but episode 4, I could just take away all of episode 4, with the exception of the lesson he learns at the end of it, which really only came from the last 5 minutes.
Really, the Mandalorian, in my opinion, is strong enough to go on for like 45 to hour-long episodes. And it's only doing 30 minutes of, basically after the 3rd episode, filler episodes. Which, I mean, there's only 2, so I can't talk too much crap. But there's only 8 episodes in the series. And it's blowing my mind with what they're not willing to do other than just make filler episodes so far. And each filler episode just felt like a movie that we had seen before. Like, you had remarked that episode, was it 3?
The end of 3.
3 felt like John Wick 3.
Or John Wick 2, more or less, just because...
One of the John Wicks.
Yeah, at the end where, like, all of the people, like his former co-workers, a hit goes out on him and everyone's after him now.
And then episode 4 felt like Seventh Samurai.
It definitely did. I didn't make that connection, but it definitely did.
Again, I'm not going to spoil it. But the episode 5 felt like another movie we had seen, and that's what kills me about the Mandalorian, because it has so much potential, the Star Wars universe. And Mandalorian, the first 2 or 3 episodes was like, okay, we're gonna see something new here, and now we're seeing that cookie cutter influence there, and it sucks because like you were really hoping You really hope. And Pedro Pascal, he's killing it. Absolutely killing it. And it's nice to see a character outside of the Skywalkers get some screen time. But oh my god, it's not looking great for me, to be honest with you.
I think it still has a lot of potential. I'm not optimistic about it, but I'm also not pessimistic. I'm kind of like right down the middle.
Yeah.
Where it's at this point, it's either going to go one of two ways. I'm sure whatever way it goes, people are going to lose their shit about it just because it reminds them of Boba Fett, even though it's not Boba Fett. I keep having to remind people that it is not Boba
Mando.
Fett. It's Mando.
Mandalorian.
Yeah. But yeah, it's I'm still slightly invested in it, but.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to watch it regardless.
Yeah,
Friday,
it's definitely got to change.
it's got to do something that's not that cookie cutter influence there.
But we've been talking about that, like things that we've seen. Mm-hmm. Is there anything that you've seen? When did we talk last? August? Since August that you want to mention?
To be honest, I haven't watched very many movies. Mm-hmm. I was watching a lot of TV shows though. I'm about halfway through The Band of Brothers, which finally getting around to seeing, which makes me happy because it's really good. David Schwimmer is surprisingly really great in it, considering he's literally known for just being Ross on Friends.
Yeah.
He's great in it. Everybody else is great. I wish I could remember their names. Disney Plus came out, and the first thing I did when I did that was watch the first episode of Mandalorian, and then cranked out 2 seasons of Spider-Man, the animated series from the 90s.
I've only watched Mandalorian and a National Geographic series called Draining the Oceans.
Yeah, so far it's not really worth your money. So
yeah, no. If you can steal it from a friend, steal it from a friend.
We'll go back on that subject, I'm sure, soon.
Yeah.
But we watched a couple movies together, but I don't think I've actually seen anything noteworthy myself since we departed from Virginia.
I think you're not really thinking as much as we should be. There's a few things I can think of. Joker, for one.
It wasn't really noteworthy. It was only the best movie of the year so far.
I don't agree with that, but it's definitely the best comic book movie. It's definitely
the best DC movie to come out.
Best comic book movie since Logan.
The DC movie to come out at all since Dark Knight.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, definitely.
My God.
And you know how like a lot of the news surrounding it was this is just going to incite violence, blah, all that. The only thing it incited was people taking pictures at that staircase, and I think it's in Brooklyn.
Yeah.
And meanwhile, people got into a machete fight at the premiere or opening weekend of Frozen 2.
Excuse me? Each day we stray a little further from humanity. Joker, which was really dope, crossed the $1 billion mark for the first rated R
really?
movie. Yeah.
Awesome. That's awesome.
It was a couple weeks ago.
Joaquin Phoenix is superb.
Joaquin
Phoenix. So great. The music is great. I told you this already. I watched it when I was in Ireland. It was the first thing I did.
We already watched it twice here, basically.
Yeah, I watched it in Ireland. It was the first thing I did in Ireland after getting off the airplane. Because Caitlin wanted to just relax, and I wanted to see a movie.
Explore the cinema.
Yeah, but a few other movies that I think we should talk about. Lighthouse. Still don't know what the fuck I watched, but I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I don't have anything. It came out, I was like, I liked it, but where am I?
Yeah, I need to see it again to really like flesh out my thoughts, but I really enjoyed it. The cinematography was great. Sound design was by far the best part of it.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that like it's not good, because it is good. The sound design really made that movie for me. Obviously Willem Dafoe and Robert Pattinson were great. But yeah, I need to rewatch it before I really delve into that.
It's going to take at least another watch or two for sure to be dissect.
And then another one that I know we both watched and liked, Parasite.
Yep.
South Korean movie, lot of hype that it deserves. It's not like overhyped.
No,
I think it's getting just the right amount of hype. I was actually...
In fact, it's still in theaters, which is really impressive.
Yeah, for a foreign movie, yeah. It's the number one grossing foreign movie of all time in the United States. I went to see a movie in Philadelphia yesterday, and this guy didn't want to go see it because it had subtitles. And, like, I get it. Sometimes you're not in the mood to watch a movie with subtitles. But, like, I persuaded him to go see it.
Here's the deal.
I was just like, he was like, are you going to go see it? I'm like, I already saw it, but it deserves money.
Yeah.
Like, you should go see it. And I don't know if he enjoyed it. I really hope he enjoyed it, but, like, I spent
he probably came out of that movie like, I had to read. I haven't done that since the 3rd grade.
No, it's not he's against subtitles. He was just like, he had watched like 3 foreign movies the day before, and he didn't know what subtitles. I was like, it's honestly really good. And even if you, like, I half read the subtitles just because you can get what's going on.
You understand what's going on.
You don't need to read it word for word. For most foreign movies, you don't need to read word for word.
Yeah.
You just kind of need to get the basic gist. But Parasite has twists and turns that I was not expecting. It's honestly the first movie in a long time that I had no idea where it was going the entire time, and I was there for it the entire time.
Literally couldn't have a better movie title for the movie's plot.
Absolutely.
At all.
Like, the entire time I was just, like, because of the director, the director, he did, Bong Joon-ho, I think his name is. He did Snowpiercer, which, is kind of sci-fi-esque. And then he did, like, Mother, he did Okja. He's got I think he did The Host. Yeah. So I was kind of expecting it to kind of turn into a monster movie. But I don't want to say anything because I don't want to ruin it. But Parasite's a great title.
But it kind of turned into a monster movie.
It kind of turned into a monster movie.
Yeah, no, that movie was far beyond what I expected.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't expect anything, really. I didn't watch trailers or anything. I just went into it knowing it was probably going to be a really good movie, and it was well past that. It was so freaking good.
And it's actually my second favorite movie of the year. Mm-hmm. My first favorite movie of the year.
Oh, what's that, Mike?
Jojo Rabbit.
Jojo Rabbit.
Anyone who follows me on Facebook or Instagram knows I'm all about this movie. I think it is the most perfect movie of the year. I don't have anything bad to say about it.
How many times did you watch it now?
Only 2.
Yeah, me and Mike saw it together, and we could not have been more happy with the product that we got to see.
Absolutely.
Because, my word, when we say perfect movie,
I don't often say that. I don't think there's been a perfect movie since 2007. Near perfect. I know not all movies, no movie is perfect, but near perfect. I would say the last near perfect movie I watched was probably No Country for Old Men in 2007. And I know a lot of people have their issues with that movie, which...
That's why it's near perfect.
Go kick rocks if you have problems with that movie. But Jojo Rabbit, I legitimately cannot think why anyone would dislike Jojo Rabbit.
No.
All of the arguments that we've seen, I think you and I both looked at negative critiques of it.
Yeah.
They're all, like, pointing out that it's like, Wes Anderson-esque. I'm like...
It's only in, like, the first couple, like, 30 minutes, maybe. Maybe you can get that feel, because I got that feel, but, like,
and also...
It's not that whole movie.
Yeah, Taika Waititi... That's been Taika Waititi's style, as well as Wes Anderson. Like, they have similar styles. Yeah. It's not like he's trying to emulate Wes Anderson. Mm-hmm. Anyone who says that he's trying to emulate Wes Anderson has not seen Eagle vs. Shark, or Boy, or Hunt for the Wilder People. Like, they've probably only seen Thor Ragnarok and What We Do in the Shadows.
Yeah.
But, like, that's just his style. This is the first movie of his that was actually in his style since Hunt for the Wilder People. Granted, that was only, like, 2 movies ago.
Yeah.
But...
In fact, we did not a podcast.
We did a video
on that.
Yeah, we did. But, yeah, like, they're all, like, the reasons for not liking it are comparing it to other movies.
Yeah.
Which, if you're doing that as a critic, you're dumb.
Yep.
Every movie takes...
Because even when I did a review for it, I compared it to another movie, which I thought was really impressive, because we haven't really seen a movie that beautiful and comedic and... What was the movie called? Life is Beautiful?
Life is Beautiful, yeah.
We haven't seen this type of movie as good as Life is Beautiful in so long, and we got that in today's like a modern style. Mm-hmm. And it was hilarious and beautiful and such like a strong like message, and god damn, it was funny too.
Yeah, it was really funny. But I cannot...
heartbreaking. It was so good though.
It was really frustrating. We talked about this on the way back from The Irishman, where we had a lot of people who were just like, oh yeah, I really want to go see that. I was like, then why aren't you seeing it?
Yeah.
That's my biggest pet peeve is when people say, oh yeah, I really wanted to see that. Then why didn't you go see it? Like, there's this, one of my coworkers, I love her, she's great, her name's Corey, but she kept saying, oh, I really, anytime I brought it up, I really want to see that. Okay, go see it.
Yeah, there's a lot of people who sit there and go, like, I want to see that movie. And like, then I did that with Ford versus Ferrari, but I work at the movie theater. I get to see clips of it every now and then.
And I finally, like, not forced her, but I was like, buy tickets now.
Yeah.
It's at this theater at this time.
You. Go ahead.
Buy tickets now. And then she bought tickets, and she saw it, and we talked about it, like, for 30 minutes the following day. Like,
yeah, I hate that, oh, I want to see that, because, like, just go do it, and then we'll have a conversation about it. Either that, or just don't bring it up at all, and then we won't have a conversation.
And then a lot of them, the reason they don't go see it is because they don't have anyone to go with them. See it by yourself. Treat yourself. Go get some popcorn. You shouldn't be talking in a movie theater anyway, so
yeah,
go see it by yourself, and then text someone you know who's seen it afterwards.
Hey, did you see this damn movie? Yeah. No, I want to see it. Buy some tickets now. It's a chain reaction that we're trying to help you with.
I will tell people, like, if people say I want to see that and I legitimately don't think it's worth the price of a ticket, I will tell them.
I do that too. I'm like, it's just...
Yeah, like, wait for... But, like... And she was very happy that she saw it in theaters, because it's that much more immersive. Because if you're at home, you're more inclined to, like, take out your phone and text and kind of miss parts of it. Even I do that. And I have this ridiculous setup that costs me way much more money than I have. And
it look good though.
It does. It looks real good. It's real good. You'll see when I send you the footage. I took video of it before we recorded.
But yes, just go see the movies that you want to see, even if we tell you don't. If you want to see it, just see it. Yeah. And then, like, when you say, hey, did you see this movie? It was like, that movie was shit. And then you're like, I know! And then we can have a conversation about
Absolutely.
It. Life's beautiful that way. Yeah. See what I did there? Jojo Rabbit. Go see it.
Last movie I kind of want to talk about, we kind of already brushed on, but you can cut this in before the rest of the movies if you want. Irishman.
You want to talk about the Irishman?
Let's talk about the Irishman. I know we talked about it a little bit after we saw it.
Yeah, we talked about the controversies of it a little bit.
Yeah, I know you said that you felt it was too long, and I get that. But I kind of wanted to expand on that a bit. See, get more of your thoughts.
Yes. That's not really a huge critique. Like, it was long. I thought overall it was a good movie. You got the story of Robert De Niro, whose character I cannot remember off the top of my head, and his best friend's Jimmy Hoffa.
Frank something.
Solidly Al Pacino's best performance, and I can't even tell you how long.
Probably since,
in my personal opinion, a lot of his roles kill me because he does the same. He's just Al Pacino. Hooah! Yeah. All right, here's the deal. I'm gonna kill you.
Yeah, I kind of blame his agent and or the directors for that. Where they're like, I could see Al Pacino like trying to do something different. They're just like, no, just be yourself.
Because even in like the movie Heat, which is I believe the last movie they were in together, I have no idea.
They did Righteous Kill, which was, it has its merits, but overall it's a downer.
But like in Heat, he had like a solid scene with Robert De Niro, and like those two were just like two like walls facing.
It's electric.
Other.
That's the only
the whole movie. After that, or before and after that scene, are just, she got a fat ass, and just going Al Pacino, just the whole time. And like this movie, The Irishman, was so nice because you really didn't have all that. He didn't escalate himself to all that.
Yeah.
And as far as like the story goes, I really enjoyed it. The only thing that really killed me was just the 3 hours. I really didn't think personally that it needed to be that long. Maybe like 15 minutes, knock it off. Or maybe half an hour, knock it off.
Yeah.
But I mean, it was good. I wouldn't cry if I didn't see it in theaters. Like, it wasn't like a Silence or anything. Like, obviously, I don't know when he's going to make another movie like Silence, get away from his gangster.
I don't know. I don't know. I
But he's really into long movies now, and like I can't.
He's always been into long movies.
Yeah, I can't knock him for it.
He just, the only difference between now and back in the day is that he has the pull in Hollywood to just be like, this is the movie. You're not cutting anything from it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can agree with that. I didn't dislike the length as much as you did.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if dislike's the right word, but like
Yeah.
I tolerated it more than you did. But I can definitely see why some people would complain about the length. Bringing back the Marvel thing, I thought Endgame was similar. Similarly, could have cut 30 minutes out of it and been fine. At some point, it just becomes length for length's sake, and it's not necessarily a bad thing, but it's never a good thing. Yeah. Like, I don't think the length was a bad thing, but it was not a good thing. There are some movies that do warrant that time. Irishman was not necessarily one of it, but I didn't hate it. Mm-hmm. One thing I loved, unlike the rest of his movies, his mob movies, it didn't glorify the mafia. It really was just like, this is kind of a shitty way to live.
Yeah.
And they did so by any time they introduced a character, brought up a little infographic of how they died.
Yep.
And I thought that was really...
You immediately introduced them, and you're like, all right, they're not going to progress too far in this story.
I thought that was really, really powerful. It was just... It showed kind of how he's looking at life, he being Scorsese now, where he's at this point where he's really considering, like... I mean, I'm just speculating here, but like, is everything that he's done worth it? He's obviously... Scorsese's obviously not as bad as, like, Hitman or whatever. But I know he had, like, a drug problem back in the 80s. Granted, everyone had a drug problem in the 80s.
Everybody.
So you could kind of see, like, a bit of a reflection in that. It just kind of felt more mature. Even, obviously, more mature than Wolf of Wall Street. I feel like a lot of people are missing his kind of movies that are like Wolf of Wall Street.
Yeah.
But I really like his more... remorseful outlook. Like Silence was a great example of that. Yeah. I think Silence gets a lot of bad rap because it's not
his cookie cutter formula.
It's not his cookie cutter formula, but I thought it was a great movie.
It's an excellent movie.
Irishman, I think, is not as good as Silence, but I still think it's really good. But I really enjoyed it. I'm glad I got to see it in the theater, but I also understand why people wouldn't feel the need to.
Yeah, I mean, it for me, it wouldn't have killed me, but I'm glad we did get to go see it, especially since it was basically a limited release, and that it pretty much only came out on Netflix after that.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I'm glad we got to see it. We're one of a good handfuls of people.
And honestly, like, it sold... The reason it wasn't a wide release was 100% Regal and AMC being stubborn as fuck.
Sounds about right.
If you don't know the story about why it didn't get a wide release, Netflix bought the distribution rights for it, and there's this whole thing in Hollywood that there's a small but powerful group of people who are trying to make sure Netflix never becomes the norm. And I understand that. I understand wanting people to see it in theaters, or wanting things to be distributed in theaters, because that is the best way to see things. And a good example of that is that Green Book won Best Picture last year, when everyone thought it should have been Roma, but Roma was a Netflix release. So there's like a small campaign that obviously won to get Green Book to win, because it was your typical Hollywood feel-good story, like, oh, look, we're not racist kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I don't dislike Green Book, but it's definitely not Best Picture quality.
I didn't see either of those films.
Glad that won than some of the other films that were nominated, but Roma, while not my favorite movie, should have won over Green Book.
Yeah.
And the reason it didn't is because it was a Netflix movie. It got a 2-week release and then was immediately released on Netflix. 2-week theater release, then released on Netflix.
Can you imagine if Beast of No Nation had won?
Yeah.
Sweet Lord.
Beast of No Nation should have won.
Mm-hmm.
Then with Irishman, Scorsese being Scorsese wanted and Netflix too, they wanted a theatrical release. They wanted a wide theatrical release. Regal and AMC wouldn't do it unless they didn't release it until 75 days. Release it on Netflix until 75 days after it came out in theaters. Netflix's normal thing is 2 weeks.
Yeah.
They went to 45 days. and said, we're not doing any longer than 45 days. That's a month and a half.
Yep.
And Regal and AMC said no. They said no over 30 days. They said no over a month. And you saw how many people were in our theater. They would have sold tickets. Every theater...
It was almost packed.
Every theater has a small screen with 45 seats that the small movie's going. Put it in that. Like, the Regal and AMC is just being stubborn at that point. And Netflix is being a little stubborn, too. But it's their formula.
They showed some a nice good shoulder by waiting.
They went from 14 days to 45 days, and Regal and AMC would not budge at 75. That's ludicrous. That's ridiculous. And I hate the fact that it's come to that. Like, there's so many people running Regal, AMC, and also, like, running the Oscars and stuff who refuse to move on with the times.
Yeah.
Whether you like it or not, I don't think movie theaters will ever go away, but they're never going to be as big as they were 10, 15 years ago.
Absolutely.
Instead of building... They even notice this by instead of building 16 as the standard size, they only build 9 screen. Mm-hmm. I know I'm ranting about this right now.
Oh, do your thing.
But, so they even recognize that it's not as popular to go to the movies as it once used to be, and that's because of technology. If that's the case, why not work with Netflix? Because people will go see movies in theaters. Our theater was probably, 75% full?
At least. And it was a pretty big theater, too.
Yeah, it was that theater, I know for a fact, holds 250 people. Mm-hmm. And it was, 75% full. That was on a Wednesday night.
Yep.
Could you imagine what it was like on the weekend? It was probably packed on the weekend.
I can imagine.
And they're just being stubborn by not doing it. And the only reason more people didn't go see it is because it wasn't readily available.
Yeah.
It wasn't everywhere. It wasn't a wide release. And more people would have gone seen it regardless of whether or not it was on Netflix 45 days after the fact, because there is still a group of people that recognize that that is the best way to watch a movie. I've made this room as close to a movie theater as I can, living in my basement.
Yeah.
And,
And we still go see them in the theater.
And we still go see them in the theater. This was just the older movies I can enjoy with surround sound. But I just hate that Regal and AMC are refusing. But yet they get, there's a movie that came out a while ago that was supposed to be like an interactive kids movie that they did so much marketing for, Regal and AMC. I think it was called, Uggle Boys or something. No, it was like...
Uggle Boys.
Oogle Boogles, something like that. It was like a Teletubby ripoff.
I have not heard of this,
and it was a wide release, and it legitimately, and for an entire week, only sold 7 tickets. 7 tickets, 1 ticket a day. I mean, that obviously...
That's bad.
Yeah, it was real bad. So obviously, Regal and AMC don't know what the fuck they're doing, and should really...
Change their ways.
Change their ways, yep.
Here a little bit. They're not change their ways, but get a grip.
Anyway, that's all I have to say about that. What else we got to talk about?
I'm pretty sure we can move on to James Dean.
Oh yeah,
being in a movie here.
That I gotta figure out.
Death?
A long time. I gotta figure out what the movie's called. I forget what the movie's called. But yeah, using technology, there's a movie coming out that is going to put James Dean in it. Not his voice, though, just his face.
Yeah, just his CGI'd face.
Which is honestly the dumbest thing. It's called Finding Jack. Right now, he's the only person cast.
Bless you.
Excuse me. It's like a Vietnam movie. And yeah, they got the okay from his family, which is all good and whatnot. But he was never married, he never had kids.
No.
So it's obviously just like extended family.
They're just like,
yeah, we can make money off of this.
What's that? You got money?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're just like, oh well, this is a movie James Dean would really want to be in. How do you know that?
Yeah.
How could you possibly know that? And they did similar things, obviously in the Star Wars universe with the one skinny face guy in Rogue One. I forget his name. Carrie Fisher in Rogue One as well.
Yeah.
Granted, she was still alive when that came out. And then Audrey Hepburn was in a chocolate commercial using the same technology, and it's so shady to me. It's really dumb.
Yeah. I can see cameos if that, but this is a whole movie with him in it.
Yeah.
Him in it. And And, like, it's literally, like, another actor is playing him. They're just putting James Dean's face on the guy.
Yeah.
Well, I guess body, too, whatever. I don't know how that would work.
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure how it works.
But, like, it would be one thing if he was, like, just recently died. And, like, they needed to, like, continue this trilogy or whatever it was going to be.
Yeah, like
Carrie Fisher.
They didn't even do it for Carrie Fisher for Rise of Skywalker.
Mm-hmm.
They just used footage that they shot from Force Awakens.
Yeah.
That they then used in Force Awakens and rewrote the script. So they didn't even do it for someone who had just died and would have signed off on it anyway.
Yeah. Like, the whole thing to me is just really stupid. Like, it would be one thing if he just recently died and, like, was going to literally make this movie, but, like, how long ago did he die?
A long time.
Very long time ago. And yes, he was an outstanding actor for his time, but using him so many years later in just like a random Vietnam movie called Finding Jack is literally beyond me.
Yeah.
I literally think they could have used anybody else at this point. People who were still alive and really old, and then CGI'd their face, like Marvel would do. Just that de-aging thing, like that would be okay.
They did that for Irishman.
Yep.
It's
I think the whole thing's stupid.
Yeah. It's immoral. I don't like the direction it's going.
And like it just leads to what's going to happen in the future.
Their whole reasoning behind it is they couldn't think of another actor to play the character other than James Dean. Did you not do auditions?
No.
There are literally millions of starving artists in LA.
They didn't want to.
Yeah. I guarantee you they probably didn't do an audition process. Like,
I think the whole thing's stupid.
Yeah.
Like there's a lot of actors that are very pissed, as they should be, very pissed about the whole thing. Mm-hmm. And I know Zelda Williams, Robin Williams' daughter, is one of the people upset about it because, like, I'm sure she has people all the time asking, like, her if they could use Robin in their movies, and she's just like, "Fuck no!" What's that?
I think they tried that for Aladdin, and she said no.
Yeah. I think she said, like, after a certain amount of years, then you might be able to ask me, but she's like, my dad just died, yo.
Yeah. I mean, it was like 5 years ago, but that's still close. Yeah. When you lose a parent. And she's especially to suicide, and she's relatively young. Like, it's gonna take a while to get over that.
Yeah, and like it's I don't like where it's going from. Like, this is gonna be like a huge first sign for what's gonna happen in the future.
Yeah,
like, they'll just be able to use anybody at this point. Just be like, oh, this is James Dean. Oh, this is Humphrey Bogart in this movie here. Oh, what's that? We got Paul Newman here. Chilling. How you doing, Paul Newman?
Yeah, really.
All chilling in the same movie together. It's gonna be a very weird future we have here, especially with most of the topics that we talked about combining with what we just talked about there.
The times are changing.
Times are changing. Welcome to Disney Plus.
Speaking of changes, our format moving forward is changing a little bit.
Yes, it is.
Do you want to discuss that a bit? So yeah, we kind of in our little hiatus we discussed the format of the podcast, how we could make it better, and it's not going to change a lot. We're still going to do the shelf boy. Mm-hmm. Make the movie Shelf Boys and all that. But instead of 2 movies an episode, we're only going to do 1, alternating who picks it.
And then we're just going to make the episodes shorter for all of us. I'm sure there's people out there who really don't want to listen to an hour and a half of us either ranting and raving,
which is what it turns into.
Cinemas or MC.
And I think it's gonna keep us more concise and everything, and also give us a chance. Because the reason we never really talk about movie news on the podcast, is because I know we have 2 movies to talk about.
Yeah.
So we always kind of just forgone. We moved past that so we could get onto the movies.
Yeah, we're gonna chop one of our movies so like it'll alternate between Mike picking one each week and then me picking one each week.
Mm-hmm. And then that way we have time in the beginning for a new segment. Mm-hmm. You talk about the movies we saw in a little bit more length.
Yep.
Another change is that movies less than a year old will not be eligible for the shelf.
Yep, the Shelf Boys.
Now, that's not to say we won't pick those. The episodes that we do new releases just won't have that judgment at the end. And then, you know, a year later we can judge.
We maybe be like potential slap boy or
potential
shelf
boy, yeah.
Boy.
And then like a year after that podcast comes out or that movie comes out, we can discuss it again.
Discuss it. So movies like such as Jojo Rabbit, which obviously has a potential to be a shelf boy, but as we all know,
I think it should just be a shelf boy.
It's going to be a shelf boy.
It's going to be a shelf boy.
We're breaking our rules immediately.
We're breaking the rule that we just told you about now. Jojo Rabbit is a shelf boy. From here on out, though.
And here on out is when we're starting slap boys.
Unless another near perfect movie like Jojo Rabbit comes out.
Yeah.
But for the most part, I feel like the way we feel about a movie a year later changes a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So
the way we're going to be doing is one movie a week, discuss movie news, shelf boys that we may or may not have in our discussions there.
Mm-hmm.
And then maybe some plugs that you guys may be interested in, such as like some YouTube videos or some articles or anything like that.
Speaking of YouTube,
mm-hmm.
YouTube, I think we're going to try to bring back videos as well.
Absolutely.
Not nearly as consistently as we did when we first started KFR.
We're not doing one a week.
No.
I think it would be best if we did a video for like each time we go randomly see a movie together at the theaters, or just something along those lines.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah,
just random videos. I think we're gonna make a video for, you know, what we think should get awards in any given year. We should really make like a best of the decade video too.
Yeah, it's gonna be tough, but I'm sure we can do it. Yeah, we got a lot on our plates that we're still trying to figure out here, but we're coming back strong.
Yep, we're focusing mainly on the podcast. Videos are going to be like little bonuses.
Yep. Now that I'm not sick, I can actually jump on board and do this thing.
Yeah.
And back in Pennsylvania, and I got my job. I'm ready to go.
Mm-hmm.
I'm ready to get life together and crank these bad boys out. Because I know you love me and I love you. And Barney, if you're out there too, I'm looking at you.
That was oddly poetic.
Yep.
So do we talk about plugs next, or the movie?
Yeah, pretty much. This at the end of each one of our videos or podcasts, we're basically going to be doing plugs, things that we think you guys might be interested in there or out there in the world. Like I said, such as YouTube videos or articles or whatever. I'll go first since this was my idea. I believe on YouTube there's a channel called Variety. And they have this series called Actors on Actors. They have just random people, such as like, for my example here, it's going to be Brad Pitt with Adam Sandler. And couldn't have such a nice duo of guys, just so happy for each other's careers and just complimenting each other. And Adam Sandler's just like, what are you talking about my work? You're Brad Pitt, you're Brad Pitt. What the hell are you talking about?
Speaking of Adam Sandler, he has Uncut Gems coming out soon.
It's coming, so we're ready for that.
Directed by the Safdie brothers, who did A Good Time, which we did on the podcast. But yeah, he looks incredible in it. He's getting a lot of buzz around it.
And it's really funny because he says if he doesn't win an Oscar, he's going to make a movie so bad on purpose.
And some people took that seriously.
Dude, I would love to see that.
I would too, but he was obviously joking.
Yeah. He's going to make money off it regardless.
Yeah, he's going to make money off of it.
If he does or doesn't.
So that's what Variety with Brad Pitt.
So Variety's YouTube video, Actors on Actors with Brad Pitt and Adam Sandler. Two very lovable guys who just love each other's careers. And obviously they plug their own work in there. That's what they're on the show for.
That's the point of it.
Brad Pitt was kind of like, on that show, they kind of like, Adam Sandler was like kind of plugging Brad Pitt's work, and Brad Pitt was plugging Adam Sandler's work, and it was a really cool episode. They were both like, "Oh, your performance in this was so good," and like, "Oh my god," and just, like two very lovable guys. No matter how you feel about their careers or whatever, I think anybody should watch it. Personally.
I like Adam Sandler, but I don't care for a lot of his movies. But I love a lot of his movies as well. Adam Sandler is actually also in my plug for the week. Hollywood Reporter does these things called actor roundtables. They get 5 actors or actresses.
I have seen one of those, actually.
You know, and just kind of talk about the career. They're usually about an hour long. The one that I'm plugging right now has not released the full episode yet, but you can view clips of it on their YouTube channel for the Hollywood Reporter. It's got Robert De Niro, Tom Hanks, Adam Driver, Jamie Foxx, Shia LaBeouf, and Adam Sandler. I think
forget about that?
I think Jamie Foxx is in that. I watched the clip for Adam Sandler and Shia LaBeouf. I plan on watching the rest, but it's really compelling, just kind of getting their views of life and their work and everything.
Yeah.
It's great, honestly, seeing. Granted, it could be feigned respect, but I like the fact that they all do respect Adam Sandler, even if it's fake respect. No one's being a dick to Adam Sandler.
It's really hard to be a dick to Adam Sandler.
Yeah, I feel like Adam Sandler knows his gig, and that's why he keeps making those movies.
Absolutely.
But he is a legitimately great actor when it calls for it. But yeah, you should definitely check out that. I do have another plug, but it corresponds with my movie pick for next week.
Okay.
So I'm going to get into my movie pick for next week. Glenjamin Button.
Mega me gusto.
Would you reach into the Ex Machina book and pull out the Blu-ray that is in there?
Oh, wow. I didn't even know it was in there.
Yeah,
wow,
I hit it. Prospect. With our boy, Pedro Pascal. Sophie Thatcher and Jay Duplass.
Okay.
I watched this twice in the past week. Because
he wasn't kidding.
I fucking love this movie. But I also want to get Glenn's things
honest
on it.
opinion of it.
Honest opinions of it.
We were listening to the soundtrack on this to go see a movie.
Oh, yeah. It's a great soundtrack.
Thing.
It is directed by... Oh, God, I got to pull up the IMDb. This font is too dark. So it is directed by Christopher Caldwell and Zeke Earle. It was written by them as well. Starring Sophie Thatcher, Jay Duplass, Pedro Pascal. And it is about a teenage girl and her father travel to a remote alien moon aiming to strike it rich. They've secured a contract to harvest a large deposit of elusive gems hidden in the depths of the moon's toxic forest, but there are others roving the wilderness, and the job quickly devolves into a fight to survive. It goes on a bit more there, but it's unnecessary.
That's the gist. Yeah.
That's the gist of it. It is available on Hulu. I'll talk about how I feel more about it later, but I think everyone kind of already knows. It's just a great independent film. I think it was only made for like $10 million or something, which is not that much for a sci-fi movie. And with that being said, my other plug is the behind-the-scenes featurette that is on this Blu-ray or on YouTube. So after you watch it on Hulu, you can go type in Prospect BTS, and you'll be able to see how they made it. Because how they made it is honestly like 40% of why I love it so much.
Yeah.
The movie itself is good, but I like movies that do a lot with little. And this is one of those movies. And I'll save everything else I have to say for next week.
Yeah, I was really looking forward to actually seeing this because I watched a interview with Pedro. And he said, like, working in those suits that they had on in the movie was just, like, excruciating. But it ended up working out very well for the actual movie, which I'm sure is in the BTS. I don't want to go too far into that. But, so, like, when he said that, I was like, well, now I gotta see the movie. Jesus. Yeah. And here we are. And now I legitimately gotta see the movie.
He's gotta see it for our podcast.
So but, here we are.
Yeah. I think that does it. Well, that will do it for our Renaissance, I guess.
Renaissance.
Cafarnaissance.
McConaissance.
So you could follow us on Instagram, Keystone_Film_Review. Twitter. We have a Twitter. We don't use it much, but you can look for us on Twitter, YouTube. We have a website now, www.keystonefilmreview.com. I've been posting I've been posting some written reviews on there. I don't know if you've posted.
I haven't posted anything yet.
Check it out. We got our podcast up there. I was still trying to put a few episodes on. Got some videos on there. Everything that we do from here on out is going to be put onto that website.
Yep.
So you definitely check that out. And on Letterboxd, I am Mike KFR.
And I am Glenn KFR.
And that will do it. Until our next real episode, where we talk about Prospect. Goodbye.
So long, everybody. Why did I do that to my voice? So long, everybody.